I wasn't really thinking I would write a song with words. I mean, I kind of was. I was hoping to, but I was thinking that probably I'll just default to like an instrumental song because they're just sort of easier for me. But I think that because it's scarier and more of a challenge, it's more interesting to try to write a song with words. So I ended up doing that, and I kind of tweaked the words. I think they're pretty much at a final version, but let's see. Oh. So what we're gonna do today is make some cookies and simultaneously try to write a song. These two things are very different in my mind, so what we're gonna be doing is seeing if we can use the creation of one thing to inspire a different kind of creation. Every other video I've made so far has been educational in the sense that I know what I'm talking about. So this is new territory. If it's terrible, then we're just gonna eat cookies and it's gonna be fine, and we're just gonna talk about our feelings. So the recipe that we're making today is salted tahini chocolate chip cookies. Ever since quarantine, for some reason, I've started to bake chocolate chip cookies just kind of constantly. I don't know why that is. We can just consider the psychological impacts of that, but suffice it to say, having chocolate chip cookies around at all times has become necessary. So the first ones I made were Chris Morocco's chocolate chip cookies, which are really, really good. But then I remembered that the last time I was able to go on tour, which was back in February with Bokanté, we went to Philadelphia and I had this amazing tahini chocolate chip cookie at a coffee shop. That was the last time I was able to go on tour. That was really fun. Can't wait to do that again. I had never thought about putting tahini in chocolate chip cookies before. I found this New York Times recipe. What I've done is taken that and added a couple of the elements back in from Chris Morocco's, but I'm gonna put the recipe in the description and you can follow that if you want. I'm not gonna be exact with the measurements because what we're really trying to do here today is simultaneously write a song. So what I'm thinking is I'm gonna just let my mind sort of go here and there and see if I can come up with some song ideas, and then take those ideas and flesh them out into at least one real song, maybe several songs. I don't really know how this is gonna go, but we're gonna see. So let's get started. Have to consult my app. Because I'm a huge nerd, I made an app for our family recipes, and it's called Franz. So the first thing that we need is the butter. And we're gonna do that first because we're gonna brown the butter, even though it doesn't say to do that in this recipe. We like that, so we're gonna do that. So we're actually gonna be doing a double recipe because we like to do this thing where we'll always set aside a small amount of dough to have no chocolate chips in it, because that's a thing that Erin's mom likes. It's very cute. So this time, because we realized that we actually really like the kind that don't have chocolate chips, they're just sort of like tahini sugar cookies, we're gonna just do a whole batch of them like that. So there's gonna be a whole batch of chocolate chip and a whole batch of not chocolate chip. I'm actually not totally sure if that's gonna work in this. I'm just gonna do it and just see what happens. It's gonna be much like the songwriting process in that way. We're gonna do all of this by weight, not volume, because it's baking and that's just better. I've got my scale so that I can weigh things. I don't really need to say that. It loses a lot of its weight when you brown it, so we're gonna shoot way high. Okay, so 228, so maybe I'll add in like an extra 30%, which would be, what would that be? 10% would be 23, so 46, 60, 46, 70, let's just do 70. Is that good math? How about just a hunk? Extra hunk. Perfect. One, two, three, four, five, six. Okay, so now we're just gonna brown it. Ah, crap. This guitar is tuned to a wacky tuning. While I tune up, why don't we brown this butter? To brown the butter, you just cook it. That's it. That's all you do. Okay, well, you don't just cookie, you do have to move it around. You don't want it to burn. I think actually I want a spatula. This was a bad choice. Just keep it moving. That's a lot of butter. All right, oh yeah, the other thing is you want it on low. So you can see that it like starts to get kind of foamy. Like it already smells like cookies, you know? This goes in the fridge. Ow, it's really hot. So that's it for the butter. Now while that turns into a solid in the fridge, we're going to deal with our other ingredients. That's sugar, that's not flour. One, two, ready, go. 3, 4. Okay, baking soda. What the hell is that? What is it, like a bug leg? You kidding me? I think there was like a little bug leg in here. No. Not seeing any more bug parts, so. Any bugs in here? Nope. Baking powder, salt, right here. What am I doing? Okay, so one thing about tahini is, I don't know, I was gonna say you have to mix it up, but this one seems pretty mixed, which I actually don't love that. I feel like that means it's like not legit. I think one of the reasons why I really like tahini is that I am allergic to peanut butter, and it kind of smells like peanut butter. It's basically like peanut butter that I can actually enjoy. This is how you stir tahini. You stab it. Sugar. Oops. A little too much there. It's okay. We'll just just to move things along, I'm gonna put this in the freezer. Son of a bitch. Okay, so while that finishes turning into a solid in the freezer, we're going to prepare the rest of our ingredients here. So we're separating some of the eggs. Oh no. It's fine. So you could use just like chocolate chips, but Chris Morocco's recipe uses dark chocolate bars. 72% is what we're going with. And then you just chop it up into your own delicious chunks and it's just so much better. So we're gonna put that in the freezer to get nice and cold. Yep. Yeah. It's pretty, it's slow, boring. Maybe. Let's check on that butter. It's getting close. Okay, we've got our brown butter that is now solidified. Has it? Oh no. Alright, so of course the downside to putting it in the freezer is that it solidifies in a weird way. We're gonna make it work. So we're just gonna add this into our mixing bowl, cream it all together. Cream it all together. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't weigh this. Everything's fine. I probably should weigh it. I mean, there's some sugar on there. It's fine. Wow, this is actually like basically perfect. In it goes. Okay, so we do this medium for 5-ish minutes to make it light and fluffy. Scrapey, scrapey. So at this point, I think you don't want to overmix. It's really good. It's really good. Salty, vanilla-y, tahini-y. Like a whole cookie worth. Okay, so at this point, we're gonna separate the dough into 2 halves. One with chocolate chips, one without. And unfortunately, because the dough is not firm at all, it has to refrigerate for 12 hours or more, which is just so long to wait. I'm gonna like very loosely guess what half is. We're just gonna guess because it's fine. It's not a big deal. Not a big deal. It's good to have it cold before you do this so that your hands don't melt it. I didn't really make it that cold, but whatever. Not a big deal. So yeah, the cool thing about doing it this way is that you get all these differently shaped pieces. Organic, baby. Stir to combine the deliciousness with the other deliciousness. It's almost better than when you cook it. It's just, I've had like 3 cookies. But look, I'm not actually baking them until tomorrow. So I kind of have to. It's the salt that does it, you know? It makes you want more. Okay. Okay, that feels more full. We're just gonna guess. Not a big deal. Okay, so that's it for the dough part. Now I've got some song ideas that I recorded onto my voice memos. Honestly, I'm not sure what I have at this point. I'm feeling stronger about the cookies than I am about the songs, but I think what I'm gonna do is go and work on the songs while this is refrigerating, and then tomorrow when I bake the cookies, hopefully by then I will have at least one song that I think is decent enough to play. Like I said before, worst case scenario, we have cookies and they will be good. The song, I'm not sure. We'll see. Okay, so I feel like it's not so difficult to just come up with like a decent enough sort of generic loop out of any of those ideas, but my goal is to make like an actually good song with a beginning, middle, and end, start to finish, a song. Maybe with lyrics, we'll see. That's not my strongest suit, but Let's challenge ourselves. So I think what I'm gonna do is just go through some of these voice memos that I made, try to stick with one or two that are good, and suss them out with instruments. And then I don't know. We'll see what happens. Let's get into it. Let's check these out.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So I could see like a Zeppelin-ish drum beat over that. Tried some different things and landed on this much more Radiohead-inspired beat. Added some percussion. Some cool, weird keyboard. Now the main idea on guitar. And the bass. Then decided, never mind guitar, Moog synth is better. I started to imagine this other, more active beat. This is a weird beat. It's basically this like mariachi-inspired beat that I keep trying to put into songs. It's sort of in the folk song Rally on the last album 4. Sort of like stubbornly insistent that this is a cool beat. If we don't end up liking this, then we can still have just this beat. Sort of Radiohead vibe, but this gives it a different flavor. So now this is the futzing portion of the writing process. Moving things around, trying to come up with new music to go with it, or new sections entirely. Eventually I came up with this little variation. You know, a lot of the writing process looks like this. Just playing the track back, stopping it, trying to hear new things in my head. So it's honestly pretty boring to watch. But this moment right here is when I heard in my head this pretty cool little run, which led me down a path for a while. Then of course I had to sit there and work it out for far too long because I suck at keyboard.
Wow, I suck at keyboard.
But here's that. Now we're adding some simple long notes that will show the chord changes. But let's not use that same synth. Let's use something else entirely. Do I have the stylus? Stylophone? Where is the stylophone? Where's my stylophone? Hello? Where's my stylophone? Found it! It's actually in tune. That's amazing. Well, kind of. This isn't working the way it's supposed to. I decided that one stylophone track was enough, so we're doing the rest of the chordal notes on a synth. Or 2. So this is all of that together. Second time around, the chords are a little bit different. Wanted to add some more bass in there, but it broke. So, doing it on key bass. Sounding pretty freaking epic at this point, but couldn't help but add in some more layers of that scale run. What can I say? I just love this shit. Anyway, we end up with this cool transition chord, and then back home to the first part of the song. Cue more futzing around. And about here is where I started to feel like we weren't really getting anywhere, so I went back to the voice memo to get re-inspired, which reminded me of some other beat options I'd thought of. Man, that's cool. It's a very different vibe from this, which could be a good thing. I can't decide if I like this or if it's a lot of nothing. I started to feel like that other idea, though cool, is so much like the song Rally. So I kind of felt like I was just kind of going down the same route that I've done before. So going back to the voice memo, I realized there was a different beat that I was thinking about putting on this. It's much simpler and more interesting interlocking rhythm with the actual thing. So it's this very simple. And I think that's going to give me a little more something interesting and different. Now this is kind of the turning point in the writing of this song. I started randomly playing this nice soft synth, and I think that combined with the simpler beat started my ears down a different path, which was more oriented toward diatonic chord progressions. Worked on that for a while until I started to hear this melody in my head. After working that out for a bit, I felt like this moment might call for some acoustic guitar, so I went and grabbed the Waterloo. By this point, I pretty much had the whole chorus melody worked out, just without words. Just leaving this part in because it sounds hilarious. So now I wanted to listen back to what I had done before because I did like the chords there, so I'm just seeing if I can make anything out of it. Putting a much simpler but still interesting melody on top makes this section a lot more usable. So with some tweaking, this other section became a verse, and before I knew it, I pretty much had a finished song. Spent the next couple of hours getting the melody just right and writing words for it, and finally went to bed. Okay, so it's the next day now, and I ended up working on this song until like 4 a.m. It seemed like it was going nowhere for a while, and then it sort of turned into this other song entirely that I wasn't even expecting, and I'm very excited to share that with you. But first, let's make these cookies. So these are the non-chocolate and chocolate chip version that have been in the fridge now for like, I don't know, maybe 24 hours, which is great because I think the longer they're in there, the better, but I've never had the patience to do it this way, so these might be the best cookies I've ever made. 325. All right, so we're gonna use this little ice cream scooper guy. We're gonna keep them very spaced out because that's what professional people say you're supposed to do. I know it seems like we're not putting hardly any cookies on this thing. That just means that we're gonna have really good cookies and it's gonna take 1,000 years to make them. Okay, so now these are ready, and is that ready? Nope, sure not. Gonna wait for that to preheat. It's really good. So it's 13 to 16 minutes, and I can't remember how much I end up doing it. We're gonna just do 13 and check. I don't know, it's really hard to tell, especially when it won't focus. I almost forgot one of the most important parts of this. At the end, we add on this fancy, flaky salt. Come on, you want that. There's hardly anything left because we've made these cookies so many times. You gotta do it while they're still warm. Yep. Like, crispy around the outside, soft, amazing middle. Ew, that sounds gross. I don't know how to describe food without sounding gross. Never tried to do this on camera. It's crispy on the outside, soft in the middle, has delicious dark chocolate, tahini flavor, brown butter, salt on the top. I mean, like, it's just really good. You're gonna wanna do these. Okay, non-chocolate. So this is like just a tahini sugar cookie. These are really satisfying. This is actually one that you might even be more interested in because kind of unusual. It's like, I guess it's like what you wish sugar cookies were like, you know? Yep, like I want to eat more so bad, but I know I'm gonna regret it. So, I'm gonna play. Okay, so the song is called Erin, and it's like a person's name. It's based on that very first idea I had. 5, 6, do-dun, 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 do-dun. Here goes. Before we hear the song, I just wanted to give a quick update. It's been a few days now since I filmed this, and I kept working on this song, honed in a lot on the melody and the lyrics. To be honest, it's a little weird now to hear this first version of it, but I think it's still cool to leave in just for the sake of documenting the process. I made a second sort of one-man band version of this, which you can see on my Patreon page. And then I ended up making a more finalized, though still definitely home-recorded, version of this that you can hear on all the streaming platforms. But for the sake of completeness, here's the rough draft. I can still remember when we had to get away. It's all we could do. It's all we could do. So we drove and drove and drove and drove to a little place called Shelter Cove. That's where we drove. Now we're a little older, and we still take a drive without a plan. Let's get lost among the forests of Washington or the hills of Tennessee. Come on, Erin, get up and move. Erin, it's far too soon. Get up and move. And reminder, it's all for you. It's all for you. Thank you for watching this epic journey. Like I said before, you can find the better version of this song on all the streaming platforms. And that's it. See you next time. A reminder, get up and move.